Erin Busbee is one of today's most popular over 40 fashion YouTube channels. She is also an incredible businesswoman and one of my YouTube coaching clients. When her and I first started working together in 2019, she had a goal of growing faster on YouTube. She was feeling a little bit stuck and stagnant. At that point, she had a little less than 300,000 subscribers. Now, just a few years later, she got out of that slump and has just recently hit 600,000 subscribers. I always love interviewing my coaching clients and sharing their successes with you and some of the steps that we took together to help them achieve their goals. And Erin goes into detail about our time together doing coaching, as well as some of her best business advice for female content creators. It is a must listen to interview, and I'm so excited to have her back on. Hello, my name is Erika Vieira. I'm a YouTube strategist and coach, having helped thousands of women behind the scenes like Erin help grow on YouTube. If you're interested in learning more about the coaching, the bootcamp, I will have all the links in the description below. Enjoy this interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Erin. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Erika. So happy to be here.
Yes,
how are you?
So good. I'm so happy to see you again. Last time I interviewed you, it was back in 2019, and you had seen a lot of success as a creative. At that time, you'd already been on YouTube for several years. And then after that call, I remember we were talking a little bit, and then you said, hey, how do I hire you as a coach? Because I'm wanting to take my channel to the next level. And now here you are a few years later after you and I have worked together extensively. It's a pleasure seeing you again. I adored working with you. Why don't you share with everybody where your mind was at a few years ago when you reached out to me to want to hire someone for YouTube coaching?
Well, firstly, I am the biggest proponent of education and coaching. And I think that the people that really find tremendous success are always coachable and always open to coaching. I feel like you cannot grow unless you are open to learning new things, trying new things. And so for me, throughout my entire journey, coaching has been a huge piece of it. And I think it was right around the time, like we're about to go into quarantine, and it was right around that time I completely sort of changed the direction of my business. I had done the podcast with you, and I thought you were so sharp and you really knew your stuff with YouTube. And it sort of hit me, like I'd hired other coaches, like just these one-off sessions before, which they were helpful. You always take little nuggets here and there. There's no such thing as a bad coaching session. There's always some pearl of wisdom that you can take away from it, depending on how you look at it. But I just really thought it was time to, really dive in there and see if we can get real strategic with the channel and grow it faster. Because I had really always taken that approach of la, like just organically grow and do what I want to do and create what I want to create, which is great and was awesome, was fun. And I still love to do that, obviously. But I also want to do it in a strategic way so that you do create growth. Because as a creator, it's very exciting when you start to see like the numbers go up, like the subscriber number go up and the AdSense metric go up. It's very exciting. And so working with you felt like a great way to hone in, get in there, figure out what we need to do, really get strategic to take the channel to the next level, which is what I think we did and accomplished.
And so what were you really hoping to get out of the coaching?
Well, I think going into our coaching, what I really wanted to do was to have you kind of overseeing those little things or these seemingly small details that people may kind of brush under the carpet because they may not have time to look at them. And I wanted you to get in there and look at those details and help me, figure them out, like the analytics, like really look at the analytics, really look at the audience retention, really look at the videos that are garnering subscribers, really look at the Google AdSense numbers, really talking about getting strategic with titles, with thumbnails, with keywords, with keyword search. Those are the things that, frankly, I just didn't have time to do and I didn't really want to do. And it felt like it wasn't my highest and best use, where you start getting into the data and it's like, your whole face lights up and changes. It's like your jam. You love it. It's part of your being. Really understand the space so well. So it was just so awesome to have, you getting in there and really taking a very close look at these statistics and this data and kind of digesting it for me and giving it back to me in these 1 hour calls where I was able to really like take it and run with it.
Yeah. And your channel is so interesting because it's been around for so long. I mean, I get different people wanting to work with me. Some people, it's like, I have a channel today that we're literally launching, right? They're brand new. They have a huge platform elsewhere, but we're launching it on YouTube. So there's no data there yet, but it's a lot of prep work. And then I have other people that have been on it for a little while, but not, maybe 6 months. And then I have people like you that have been on it forever. And in a lot of ways, I love it all, but this type of channel is actually the most work for me, but it's like work that I love, right? Because for me, I go back and I watch not all your videos because you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, but I watch a lot of your videos and I studied them and looked at every analytics, and it's so interesting. I love diving. And like you said, like when I get to jump in and look at a channel like where it's like been around for so long, there's just so much good, rich data there. And it blows my mind when creators they're like so busy and they don't have time to look at it. I'm like, oh my God, this is gold sitting here. Let's digest this gold and we'll make it more gold for you. Your channel was really fun to jump into. And we got to work. Where were you prior to doing the coaching? It was like, right before the pandemic. It sounded like you were rebranding, but how are you feeling about your channel at the time?
Well, I started the channel in 2014. So by 2020, that would have been 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And, it is a while. And I feel like with any business, and, I think of YouTube as a business, it ebbs and flows. It has ups and downs. And I think I was a little bit in a slump, just like the same stuff over and over again. I was losing that excitement that you have when you first start. And at certain points throughout the business, you have it, you regain it. But I sort of was in a little bit of a slump. And, what I was most excited about was really getting in there with you and figuring out, okay, what can we do to really help this to grow? I just wanted to take it to the next level. And so, we worked a lot, you and I, on the title. I don't know how many, like emails would go back and forth or Voxers or whatever about one title of one video, like it was so strategic. And then the thumbnail, same thing. Like how many iterations of each thumbnail?
Oh my God, so many.
Yeah. And, things like that normally I would just not take the time or make the time to do it. And sort of working with you and having you as a sounding board and as a guide really kind of reinvigorated the excitement level about those things. And, we get a viral video, I know we both got super excited, like, oh, look at the views and the AdSense and all of it. So, it's just, I think YouTube is awesome. I love it. Obviously I've been on the platform forever, but I feel like the coaching aspect, when we were really getting into the weeds, was also really exciting and fun too.
Yeah.
Because we were seeing real tangible results.
Yeah. And so when you first started with the coaching, I think you're on like around the 200, I want to say like between 250 to 275-ish K subscribers range. I think that's where you're at. I know it's just under 300 because I remember hitting that at the 300 mark, right? Kind of at the beginning. I might have been with that first viral video. What happened when your channel started to take off? Like, what did that look like for you?
Well, I think I remember like AdSense being around 5K a month. So I always thought like, all right, if my AdSense can pay for my editor, then that feels like a good trade for me. And then while we were working together, the views went up so much that we were then getting more AdSense. And I think at some point we got up to close to 20K in a month, which was like, what? Mind blown. And I think that changed my mindset a little bit because before I was always focused on affiliate sales, as the primary kind of, way to earn revenue. But after seeing that number, I thought, well, geez, maybe it's more about the AdSense versus the affiliate sales. So I think since it's become more of a hybrid of the two, I think it's a nice happy mix. But it was really exciting to get to that number because I think as a creator, sometimes you can get into that affiliate sale vortex where you're like, everything is about affiliate sales. And once I gave myself permission to sort of just put that aside and not worry about it so much, then I feel like I was able to just bring back some of the joy to content creation again and just create the videos that I really wanted to create, that I was excited to create versus, oh, you know, I used to do like monthly favorites videos, which are so easy to do. It's like, oh, look, my Bobbi Brown lip gloss. I love it, you know, which they're fun. They're fun. And I do appreciate a favorites video, but that's about affiliate sales. It's not necessarily about much else. So now I think more in terms of like evergreen videos, like videos that will really last. You know, like you and I worked on hair videos together where, you know, hair's really my primary area of focus. And out of the gate, they wouldn't perform that well. They wouldn't get the views. But over time, like they steadily would kind of grow and grow and grow and grow. So like 5 quick updos suddenly was one of our top 10 videos, or anti-aging, you know, pro-aging hair tips was one of our top 10 videos. So really just kind of resetting my thinking about content creation and what type of content to create.
I remember those hair videos, and I remember you were a little like, oh, I don't know, that's not my audience. And then sure enough, I think when we initially uploaded them, I don't remember if they performed well right away. I think they did okay. But I do remember like a few months later, like boom, one of them took off. And I can't remember if at the time we did another one to piggyback off of that. And then boom, that one took off. So those hair videos did really well for a while. I think they're still getting views too, which is awesome. And that's what's great about you too, working with you, Erin. And one of the things that I really admire about you, because I'm so grateful and blessed to be in this opportunity to be able to work with such incredible women and amazing creators, right? And one of the things that I really admire about you is your business sense. I've found that with working with you, you were just so great to work with, in the sense that you're very coachable. Like you, even though you've been at this for years and years and years, you said, hey, I'm open. I'm ready. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And those are the best clients. And it was such a pleasure working with you in that sense. What was your biggest breakthroughs that you had when doing this coaching?
I think some of the things we've already talked about, which is kind of that shift in mindset about, you know, like before I was putting all this emphasis on affiliate sales. And then after we reached these really cool, amazing Google AdSense numbers, I was thinking more about that as a primary source of revenue for the business. So shifting my focus there, I think, you know, I really had breakthroughs when it came to titling and thumbnails under your guidance. You know, before I would just like whip something up. Like I was creating all my thumbnails. I was just whipping something up. And, you know, I started with PicMonkey, then I went to Canva, then I went to Photoshop. And listen, I love to get in there and create graphics. I do. I really do. But it's not the best use of my time. And so just under your guidance, really learning which thumbnails perform well and really utilizing things like the TubeBuddy A/B performance test, which we still utilize. I also think that, you know, for the last sort of 6 months we worked together, you worked exclusively with one of my key team members, and you were able to guide her and coach her. And so now she can take over the reins and has become really an associate producer, keeping her eye on all the data for me. So I think that was really invaluable too, that you really were able to and willing to coach one of my team members so that she could then take the reins and help me. And that was huge. You gave her the confidence she needed to be able to step in and help me in that way. And so now she's the one working on the titles and working on the thumbnails and looking at the data and keeping me apprised of what's going on. And so that was huge.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like with anything, you know, we were talking offline and I was complimenting the fact that I think you're such an incredible businesswoman. And you're like, well, I wasn't born that way. And it's the same thing as like being a YouTube creator. My whole goal in working with somebody, and this is why I always tell people, you know, when they're asking me about coaching, it's like, I want you to eventually like have my brain. I can't work with you forever, right? I want you to be able to think the way that I do, that you look at it strategically and that you can make these decisions. And I feel like I have so many of my clients come back to me. They're like, you're always in my head. Like every time I'm like, yes, that's what I want. And in working with your team member who was lovely, I loved her. I remember her, the first couple meetings, it was like a deer in headlights. She was like, okay, but then, after a few calls, she was like asking some good questions and she was in there coming up with ideas. And that's the thing, like with YouTube, it's like anyone can learn it. And it's just taking that time to do it and to learn it and to have someone, like you said, hiring someone to teach that or however you want to learn it. And so it was really incredible to see her kind of, have her wings and fly off and, be now a YouTube expert in a way.
Yeah, no, she's producing for me, and it's incredible because I just shoot, I upload things to Dropbox, and then she takes it from there. I don't do titles, I don't do thumbnails, I don't do keywords, I don't do boxes, I don't do links. That's it. So then what does that do? That enables me to focus on the part that is most enjoyable to me, that I'm best at, and it really maximizes my time. So it's been a beautiful thing, and I really appreciate that you were willing to work with her and help her and train her.
Yeah.
And you trained us both, really. You did. I do think anyone can learn it, but you can't pretend to love it.
That's a good one.
That's the one thing you can't fake and you can't learn. So like the team member we're talking about, Denise is her name. Denise is just a voracious YouTube watcher. She loves the platform. Like you love the platform. Like you are all about YouTube. I love the platform, right? So I feel like that's the one piece of it you can't fake. So if you really don't love the platform, like there are so many other platforms like that you could utilize right now that would be great, right? So just pick the one that you love.
That's such a good point. And that's the one thing that I always tell people when I'm working with them. And if somebody's wanting to do YouTube, it's like, well, how much YouTube do you watch? Even when I hire people to be on my team, even if the job isn't YouTube, I ask them the question, do you watch YouTube? What are some of your favorite channels? How much of it do you want? How much of it do you watch? Because you're right. I love YouTube. I watch hours and hours of it. Now I'm so fortunate that I have so many incredible clients like yourself that I get to watch their videos. That's my job, is to watch all their videos. But I still subscribe to, you should see how many, I think I'm subscribed to like 900 channels, but I have a couple different channels that like I subscribe to, like different things. And so because it's like you have to know what's happening on YouTube and you have to enjoy it enough to spend hours I will literally spend every day, I spend a minimum 20 to 30 minutes just scrolling my feed, my subscription feed. And that gives me like just ideas and brainstorm and all this. And I'm like, oh, this would be good for this person, or this would be good for that person, or oh yeah, Erin should do this, or this person should do that. I do that because, like you said, I love it. For you, it's fashion. The amount of time and energy and passion you have for, fashion is incredible. And that's why you're so good at what you do, because you love it. You love to, I remember like you're talking about something about like wearing some like fancy dress or something like about like where you live. And you're like, yeah, nobody dresses up, but I still dress up. Like I'm super, I dress up, and it's because you love it. And I love it. And I do remember that about Denise. She loves YouTube. And I do get wary of anybody that wants to be on YouTube or maybe hire someone like in your case.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Well, because people see that other people have success on the platform and they think, oh, I'm going to do that. But if it's not something that you inherently love, I wouldn't do it, because as you know, and I know, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So one of the really cool things that happened, I know, while we were working together was that, and I think this was a goal for yours too, when we first started working together, was going from 2 videos a week down to 1 video a week. What happened around that situation and made you finally make that decision to make that big drop? Because I think you had been doing 2 for almost the entire time you've been on YouTube.
A long time. Years. Well, I feel like that decision was made for me, unfortunately. I think when the pandemic started, we went into quarantine March 2020, my anxiety level was at an all-time high. I was just really suffering on the inside. And I think that having that sort of debilitating anxiety really sparked this just, I'm going to look at everything and I'm going to pare everything back to a level that feels more manageable for me and makes me feel happier and more joyful about it. So I think that, I'm always one of those people that can do. I can outwork anyone. I'm really good multitasker. But that gets me into trouble sometimes. I get to a place of overwhelm, and overwhelm is not fun, as many of your listeners and viewers will know. When you get there, you're a mom, you've got a business, you're juggling all this stuff and practices and carpools and laundry and cleaning and husbands and dogs and, all of it. It can really just sneak up on you. And I noticed that was happening with me and then it bubbled up into the anxiety. So I knew I needed to cut back, and I wanted to cut back because the whole reason you start your business in the first place is because you want to have this beautiful, idyllic, flexible life.
Freedom.
You want to have freedom. You want to pursue your passion. My passion has always been, I want to help other women. You want to pursue that passion, but then you also want this freedom. I'm going to be more present with my children. I'm going to be here all the time to help them. I can pick them up from school. You can do all those things that you want to do. And what happens is it sort of wraps itself around you. And before you know it, you're not only not doing those things, but you're just in a place where you're paralyzed. As you're so busy and overwhelmed. So dropping down from 2 videos to 1 video was a big deal for me. And I think it was sort of symbolic of the shift in my mindset to just creating this business that is more flexible and does allow more freedom. So under your guidance, when we were making that shift, one of the strategic changes that we made was to make sure that every video was over 20 minutes. Because what we discovered is that women will watch my videos for a pretty lengthy amount of time, and YouTube likes watch time. And so if they watch kind of over 10 minutes, you get a high percentage of viewer retention and also a lot of watch time. And then they will suggest more of your videos. So in doing that 20-minute video once a week, we were still able to get a lot of views and a lot of watch time, which kept our numbers actually growing versus plummeting, which they could have done going from 2 to 1. So that was an exciting change for sure.
Yeah, I think it opened up a lot of, not I would say like opportunities for you, but it opened up a lot of doors for you to be able to explore and do different things. And, at that point afterwards, and you did your amazing, road trip and trip to Europe and then all that, and being able to cut your work down, at least on YouTube, because I know you're doing a lot of other things like Instagram and the blog and all that, bought you time in other areas.
It was just a symbol. It was the start of something for me in the business sense that was beautiful, because subsequently I hired more team members. I used to be like checking Instagram and my YouTube studio every day, 5-6 times a day. I'm hardly in either one of those platforms anymore. I went from 2 to 1. I hired new team members. I basically, my business grew in 2021 by 30%. And I worked maybe half of the amount of time that I was working before. And as you said, I was able to travel. I traveled for 8 months in 2021.
Wow. And what do you attribute all that to? Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, and lived in a place where it was difficult for me to shop and get product.
I remember that.
My whole channel's about clothes. Like I couldn't work with brands. I had to scale way back on my brand collaborations because they just couldn't physically get the product to me in Spain. So I attribute it to a lot of things. I attribute it to shifting my mindset and saying, you know what, I'm going to reclaim my life and create that freedom that I've always wanted. This is the time. I attribute it to having more fun, playing more, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I've learned in other programs, like the more that you that you take downtime and you have that time to be bored or drive or just take time for yourself in the tub or go on a trip by yourself like I did recently, or do those things that really light you up but also help you recharge and reset. Those are the moments that you'll have these amazing
ideas. Mm-hmm.
And also that time, just that time away, when you go back to it, you're so much more excited. You're so much more energized. And then you're energized. People are not dumb. They can feel that. They can see that. They know if you are passionate about what you're doing. They can see it in your eyes. Mm-hmm. You cannot fake it on YouTube.
No. No.
If you are not genuine and do not have that magnetic energy, you're not going to grow. So a huge part of it for me, and I think for most YouTubers, it has to be about rest, relaxation, recharging, resetting, and allowing for that time so that you can come back to the taping, shooting, whatever you want to call it, and have that energy, that magnetism.
And I think for you, a big part of that is letting go and hiring people. I think that's
surrender. Yeah. I mean, that is seriously one of the hardest things to do. And I hear interviews now or podcast interviews now where women are like, I'm not going to outsource that, or I can do that. I can't, no one else can do that. And I kind of chuckle to myself a little bit because first of all, I totally relate to what they're saying. I used to think that way. Now I outsource everything I possibly can and afford to outsource because I think it pays dividends. I think you'll grow exponentially.
I agree with that 100%. So what made you comfortable at that time? I mean, you had a smaller team at the time when you brought me on for coaching, but what made you feel like, okay, I'm going to invest in this? What made you feel okay with like letting go a little bit of not the control, but it's like you're taking my ideas and then implementing them. You know, what made you feel okay at that point?
I think it comes back to just being coachable. Like I trusted that you knew your stuff. You know, I'd listened to enough of your podcasts and was familiar enough with your work to know that you knew your stuff. There's we have a mutual, like, I don't know if we call it fandom, what we would call it, but we both like James Wedmore and listen to the podcast. And he says always, what got you here won't get you there. Yeah. So I've just always known that you have to, if you want to take things to another level, you have to bring in experts that can help get you there. And so to me, that's a no-brainer. Like it's easy. It doesn't feel hard to me at all. It feels like I'm excited. I'm excited for that. So if you have, I mean, and I'm sure there were a couple of things here or there that we talked about that I was like, no, but yeah. maybe, you know, small things, but you know, for the most part, I'm willing to try whatever. And I think we did do a lot of experimentation. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're a really cool client to work with because I felt like you were always throwing challenges even my way. Because it's like, okay, we went from 2 videos down to 1. All right, like how do we keep? And you said, well, I'm gonna go down to 1 video, but I want to keep the same views. In that sense, I'm like, okay, well, challenge accepted. Let's do that. And then you're like, okay, you know, I want to keep growing and grow more. But I'm going to move to Europe and I'm not really going to be able to get new clothes. Okay, let's work with that, right? And we did. It's like, okay, let's talk about different things you can do in Europe and all this. So it was always fun working with you because you almost challenged me in a way because you had all these new, you know, milestones of like, okay, we got 100K new subs. Oh, great. Okay, well, great. But now I want to go down to 1 video. Okay, you know, now another 100K. Yeah, but now I want to move to Europe and, you know, do this or whatever. So it kept me on my feet and challenged. And it was a cool experience for me to see that. And the most amazing thing is throughout this whole thing, your channel and your business continue to grow.
Mm-hmm. We did have a period, I would say, probably following. I decided to take a month off.
Oh, that's right. And in the holidays,
never done that before, and for sure, our growth sort of, you know,
stalled
way back. Yeah, I wouldn't say stalled because we were still growing, but not anything close to what we were, you know, used to, or the numbers that we were used to. But I still think that was an important step for me to take. It was this moment of me just saying, like, I need this time. I'm going to take this time. And I think it was really important for me. And even though it was a little bit of a pain point there following that month off, or maybe like 5 months, it took us, I'd say 5 months to rebound from that. I think it was an important step for me to take.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really admire about you. I feel like, and I've learned a lot just from you as a businesswoman. I admire you as a businesswoman because you're very strategic and smart in the way that you make decisions, but you do them in a way that I think is relatable to all of us women, because I think we all want that. We all want that freedom to be able to go to Europe for summer with the kids, right? Both to have the resources to do that and to have the time to do that. And you embody that really. And in working with you, I really did get to see a behind the scenes look of someone who's this incredible powerhouse of a woman and how you operate. And I just have to say that. I thought it's just really admirable. And I was always inspired and still are. And so back to your point of like taking that month off, I can't remember, it was you or Denise that told me, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, let's set the expectations. The green arrows that we love to see are not going to be there. And, I think we did some other things too. Like we put shorts, we got some shorts in there and we did a few other things. And it was actually kind of cool. I think during that time is when I worked with Denise and we just spent time like me teaching her things, and we went back to old videos and I went over a bunch of stuff. So we still use that time. You were out there taking a break, but I remember working with Denise and we're like, well, now we have a month to like go back. Let's do some even deeper analysis after, doing this. So we still, even though you were taking a break behind the scenes, we were still doing some stuff with your channel, which was really cool. So
yeah, another big change we made, I just thought of it, was we went from content that was focused on very accessible, affordable pieces to content that was more focused on higher end, luxury, sustainable pieces. That's a big shift.
That was a big shift. And I remember, I think you were wanting to kind of move in that direction, but just, not sure how. And I think you did it really successfully.
Yeah, we still get the occasional, comment here and there, but I think what's happening now is we're attracting the people that we want to attract, and it's just more aligned with the mission that we have now, and wanting to promote, more sustainable fashion, more eco-friendly fashion, not fast fashion, not the buzzy things that a lot of influencers promote that you get in the mail and it's in a cellophane bag and you open it up and it smells like chemicals and you're like, oh my God, this stinks and falls apart after a couple washes. Like, I just got real tired of that. I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I feel really good about the mission we're on now, and really highlighting just better quality pieces. And also just from a personal perspective, I grew up very poor. We didn't have, was a single mom, 4 kids. Dad wasn't really contributing. And it's been an important personal step for me to step into being this person that feels worthy of nice things. It's been a really big shift for me. And so I feel as though if I show my viewers and this wonderful community of women, like, hey, I'm buying these nicer things for myself, I feel I deserve them, and I'm embodying that maybe they'll feel like it's okay for them too.
Oh, that's a really nice and powerful mission.
Yeah.
And I saw that in you with the coaching or like when working together. And I do remember that shift that you had, and that you really wanted to focus on that. And, the good thing is that your audience responded well. I think they really liked it.
Yeah. And I think, even if there's something they can't afford, there's always a formula or something comparable or similar that we link that they also, have access to. So it's still very accessible. And I don't ever want to be like, oh, this piece is the one you have to have. It's more about like, this is the essence of what you create. Find this in your closet or find it at wherever store that you like to shop, whatever designer you like. It's not about like, you must buy this piece. It's more about, here's the formula that I think would really be great for you.
Yeah. And I think there's a reason why where you're at now, I think you just hit 600K. I think there's a reason why you're continuing to grow, because you've got this strong mission, and you've had that from the beginning. And even when still working together way back when, you've always had this mission to help women. And so I think it's palpable through your content, which is amazing. So how has the growth of your YouTube channel since, because I know when we first started, you were feeling stagnant, you weren't at 300K yet, and over the last few years, you've blown up to 600,000. How has the growth of your YouTube channel affected, I'd say, maybe other areas of your business or even your life, or might have changed it?
Well, every once in a while, there's like a crazy experience. Like when I was in Switzerland with my family, there was a woman who stopped me in the street, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Erin, I watch your YouTube channel." Like, so we're in Zermatt, Switzerland, and there's the gal that stops me on the street. And the best thing she said was, like, we talked for a little while, we took a picture together, and she looks at my husband and she goes, "Do you know how special she is?"
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. I was like, I thought it was so funny because she's like looking at my husband, obviously.
And he's like, "Yeah."
I hope he knows.
Yeah.
But that was like the really, really lovely. So that element of it is a little bit surreal for me. It's a little, I don't know. It's just kind of strange, but I think it's also incredible. Because to me, I'm just talking to like one person. I'm just talking to a group of friends. It doesn't feel like I'm talking to 619,000 people. It just feels like I'm talking to a small group. So when that happens, that's a little bit weird. But no, my business, it's been really important to me since 2020, when everything just sort of stopped. Collaboration stopped, brands stopped working with influencers, people stopped buying stuff, which meant affiliate sales really stopped. That we have a really diverse business. So, YouTube is just one bucket of many. So I don't ever want there to be one platform where that's where we make all the money, And if I were to like pick one, it wouldn't be necessarily YouTube, only because I don't control it and don't have ownership over it. And they can change it like tomorrow. So really my blog is where my bread and butter is. And then YouTube is another piece. And now Facebook has come onto the scene, is another piece. The Like to Know It app is another piece. So I really love diversifying and having different sources of revenue.
Yeah, I think that's really, really smart. What would you tell someone who's on the fence or thinking about investing in their YouTube channel, through coaching with me, or any way like that?
Yeah, we're assuming they love it, they're on the platform, it's going well, but they just want to either grow or take things to a next level like I did. I mean, but to quote James, "What got you here isn't going to get you there." It won't get you there. You have to invest in your business. You have to invest in coaching. I invested in your coaching and loved it. I thought it was amazing, but I'm always in a coaching program. Like at any given time, really 2 or 3 coaching programs, if I'm being honest. I think it's invaluable. I think it's so, so, so important. You can't possibly know all of the things. And if you are trying to know all of the things, you have absolutely zero work-life balance. And that's not why you started this in the first place. So stop it and get coaching. Get some coaches on the scene.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's one of those things where maybe it feels a little painful to pay for it at first. Like, this is a big investment, but it ends up paying for itself. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right, Erin. Well, thank you so much. It was so great chatting with you. For anybody that doesn't know who you are or your channel, where can they find you?
It's all under Busbee, my last name, like Busy Bee without the Y, style, STYLE.
Awesome. Any last words to the listeners or viewers?
No, just thanks for listening. Thanks for having me, Erika. Always great.
Awesome
to see you.
Thank you.
Wonderful resource in helping female entrepreneurs build their YouTube channel. It's such a platform, and a business that didn't exist 10 years ago. And it's just really, I think it's a really exciting place to be. And I think it's a really exciting industry. And yes, it's a dark path. And you may not know exactly where you're going, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. A road less traveled, that's for sure. All right, Erin, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed that interview and you learned a lot from it. Now, if you have a YouTube channel or considering starting a YouTube channel that you're serious about growing and you want the best of the best when it comes to personalized feedback, advice, and up-to-the-minute YouTube strategy, then consider my Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp for Women. I have been running this bootcamp since 2018, and we have hundreds upon hundreds of very successful students that have gone through the program. And I can go on and on about the YouTube Bootcamp, but I want you to hear it directly from some of the women themselves.
I feel so lucky that I got to do Erika's bootcamp.
Before I joined the bootcamp,
Before joining Erika's bootcamp,
my channel was all over the place. I didn't know what I was talking about.
I would hear people say that I need to find my why and my voice and my audience and understand my target audience, but I never felt like I really understood what that meant.
Erika helped me come up with YouTube video ideas. She helps me with consistency. She helps me to interpret my analytics.
I started with 12,000 subscribers and now I have over 50,000 and it is growing rapidly.
My channel has grown almost 100,000 subscribers.
I definitely wouldn't have gotten to this place in such a short amount of time without Erika's bootcamp.
What makes Erika special is that she has been talking to and analyzing YouTube channels for years, and that has given her this bank of knowledge to pull from.
I'm constantly asking her questions about YouTube. I'm asking her advice about my YouTube channel.
Taking the Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp was one of the best
decision I could have ever made for myself, for my channel, for my own personal growth as a human being. I could not be happier.
I love that it has reinvigorated me in such a beautiful way. So I am so happy that I've joined.
You're crazy not to hire her. Get on it. All right.